People have complained that the Kabbalah Center is engaged in brainwashing, which is a term in popular culture to describe thought reform or a coercive persuasion program to gain undue influence. And here there is a pattern that I think can be seen in the Kabbalah Center regarding this type of process. That is that people come into the Kabbalah Center and they are interviewed, they talk to, they share their deepest secrets of their life with the teachers at the Kabbalah Center. And this is what Lifton, in his analysis of thought reform, calls the cult of confession. So there is this kind of no holds barred, no boundaries confession that takes place between Kabbalah Center students and their teachers and the staffers there, which are called the chevra, which is a Hebrew word for friends. And these relationships are very tight, and people empty their souls to the teachers. The teachers then can transmit that information to leaders in the Kabbalah Center, to the Bergs, and also, importantly, to those people that make astrological charts. That information informs the astrological chart that then is presented to the member of the Kabbalah Center, to the student, and that becomes compelling evidence of the mystical quality of the Kabbalah Center. That is, that they have supernatural power, that they have mystical powers of discernment. The student doesn't realize that there is a process going on behind the scenes where information is going from teacher to chart maker to leaders, and they're actually being caught in the middle. Instead, they think that this is a demonstration of the true power from God that the Kabbalah Center seems to possess. And then the Kabbalah Center uses those charts and this process as a leverage point to get that member to do things, to get them to donate more money, to get them to leave someone in a relationship who has critical questions about the Kabbalah Center, to no longer have communication with family that may have questions about the Kabbalah Center. But to the mind of the student, what they're dealing with has this spiritual quality, this authority that it seems to come from God. It seems to come from a higher power. And so in the mind of the student, they're not able to separate out the teachers and the staffers of the organization from God, the Zohar, the higher power. Instead, that line of division becomes blurred. And so in their mind, when they agree and follow the directives of the teachers, of the chevra, or the friends, the staffers at the Kabbalah Center, and of the Bergs, they are not obedient to people. They are obedient to God, to the light, to their spiritual enlightenment. And this process is brought about through confession and through manipulation. Lifton calls this the cult of confession, and he would call this type of manipulation mystical manipulation in his 8 criteria to determine whether or not a group is using a thought reform program. And it's important to note that the reason why people don't leave the Kabbalah Center, even when they're unhappy, is because they are encouraged to have unreasonable fears about leaving. They are told that those people who leave become sick and die, that people who leave lose their soul, lose the light. So there are these fears, unreasonable fears about leaving the Kabbalah Center, and, I might add, unreasonable fears about disputing what the Bergs say. They are told, you could die if you disagree with the Bergs. People who disagree with the Bergs end up badly. And they will tell stories to illustrate that point, which become a kind of mythology that is supported within the group. So there is this unreasonable fear of leaving, this unreasonable fear of disagreeing with the teachers, and this sense that the Bergs and the teachers have supernatural power, as demonstrated by their seemingly penetrating knowledge of the individual through astrological charts and through readings, when in fact this whole process can be seen as contrived through the information network within the Kabbalah Center as set up by the Bergs between the teachers and those people responsible for the astrological charts.